What if I told you that inconsistency wasn't actually your problem? Now, let me explain. You're actually a lot more consistent than you think. I'm willing to bet you're really consistent at watching Netflix shows or scrolling through TikTok, maybe crushing some video games. Hear me out. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with any of those things, but a lot of times these things can get in the way of the goals that we're trying to accomplish in life. So today, I'm going to share with you how I conquered consistency, and this is still something that I'm working to get better at every single day. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, friends. It's great to see you here. My name is Bryan, and if you have a moment, that'd be amazing if you hit that like button for me, as well as subscribe to the channel. Also, if I sound a little bit slow or sluggish today, it's because I'm currently in a 5-week challenge that I'm putting myself through to see if I can get super crazy shredded lean. And today is the start of week 4, and I'm currently doing glycogen depleting, which means I'm not eating any carbs, and just slows you down a little bit. But I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm going to be putting out a full YouTube video on the whole experience and the progress and the results. So definitely stay tuned for that. So when we talk about consistency, what we're really looking for is intentional consistency. Emphasis on that word intentional. So I'm going to give you a few pointers that have worked for me, that have really revolutionized my consistency in achieving the goals that I have and the things that I'm trying to do with my life that make me happy. So the first thing that I do every single day is I wake up and I do stuff that I don't want to do. So what you have to understand is intentional consistency is like a mental muscle that you constantly have to develop and grow. The only way you really can do this is putting your mind in situations that it feels uncomfortable being in. For me, this is why I wake up and do a bunch of working out. Mentally, it's like the last thing I want to do. I want to wake up and maybe like eat some food and meander over to my office and maybe work a little bit, maybe scroll through Instagram or something. I definitely don't want to just get super sweaty and put my body through a bunch of pain. But I do this first thing because it goes against the grain of what my mind wants to do. And I found that over weeks and weeks and months of doing this, I've really been able to develop that intentional consistency to be able to push through when I don't want to do it. Now, as simple as this concept might seem, it is super powerful, but the tricky thing is you really do have to push through on those days where you don't feel like doing this. Specifically when it comes to working out, I literally do not give myself any option. I don't let my mind even try and debate like, am I gonna work out today? It's just something I do. It's in my mind the equivalent of like, would I go a day without drinking water? Definitely not. I've been working out consistently for like well over a year and a half now, and there has been multiple days where I'm like, the last thing I want to do right now is work out. But it's so incredibly rewarding when you push through on those days where you don't feel like doing it. And again, that mental capacity really grows, and this is where it's really affected my intentional consistency in other areas of my life and things I'm trying to accomplish. And the other amazing thing is you probably already know what it takes to achieve some of your goals. Quick stop right now and think about one of the goals that you have, and think about what it would take for you to achieve that goal. Yeah, you probably know what it takes. And if you don't, well, let me introduce you to something called the internet. Because if you don't really know, like, well, how do I start a YouTube channel? Or how do I start a business? Or how do I get in shape? Well, some of those things, just subscribe to my channel. I'm helping you with a lot of that stuff, but you can easily Google search some stuff, cross-reference some of the information that you're searching, and get an answer to how you can take steps to achieve some of those things fairly quickly, like pretty immediately. So you don't really have much of an excuse in terms of where to start. It's a matter of like putting yourself in the situations that you're like, I'm fighting this. I know you know that feeling. I know that feeling when you're just like, I want the results, right? But the gap between me and those results is a bunch of learning and growth. And that only happens when you push through on the days when you don't feel like doing it. The next thing that I live by is what's called chasing the momentum. And because progress can be slow sometimes on anything you're trying to achieve, it's important to give yourself moments where you can reflect and assess the momentum of what you're doing. Sometimes you are in fact pushing through on the days you don't feel like doing it and you're really consistent. My rule of thumb is give it at least 3 months and then assess the momentum of what you're working towards. And sometimes you'll find that, yep, I gotta keep working harder, this is working, and other times it's just not for you. Maybe you tried starting a business and you're working at it consistently, and if it's not really working out, move on to something else. Stop wasting your time. Now, something that's super helpful is to notice clues along the way that indicate progress in the right direction. For example, let's say you're on a fitness journey to try and lose weight. Take before pictures. Even if you're not gonna share them on social media or anything, take like day 1 pictures of what you look like. And then each month, take progress photos, and then you can see like, am I actually progressing in the right direction? So be really attentive to those clues that might be saying you are progressing in the right direction, or maybe you're not at all. Now, one thing I will say, when it comes to fitness and eating right, I don't think there should ever be a moment for anyone that says, well, yeah, this just isn't for me, because those are two like paramount aspects of living a healthier life. But beyond that, sometimes you have ideas and they just aren't for you, and that's okay. I've definitely been there, and I've had tons of ideas that I realized this isn't quite the thing for me, so I'm gonna move on to something else. Now, this is something that really helps make all of this easier, is that when your goals and things you're trying to accomplish align with the things that you love to do, it makes pushing through on the days you don't feel like doing it so much better, because you know that ultimately this is something I love to do, even though some of these aspects, like, I just have to push through it. Set goals based around like, well, what are your passions? Like, what do you love to do? For me, it's music and it's being creative, and then the fitness component as well is actually just something that I've found enriches my life, and it's become something that I really do love to do. So I've made businesses and built things around those passions of mine. For music, it's Mood Sound Design. It's the music licensing business I founded. Or for YouTube, it's, you know, this photography and videography. I love to be creative and I love to tell stories in a way that's here on YouTube. So that really helps. And I would say if your goal is like, I just want to make a bunch of money, well, you're probably going to get burned out pretty quickly. But if your goal is like, I want to do what I love, and if the byproduct of that makes me money, then that's freaking fantastic. And I'm very fortunate that I've been able to do what I love and pay my bills with that. But I will say there are still days where it's work. I love it though. And so it keeps me motivated and excited to work at it every day. And the last thing I'll say is be practical. Sometimes you just need some basic limits on how much time you're spending on your phone, or how much time you're watching shows, or whatever it is. Set some realistic boundaries on how much time you're gonna spend on some of those distracting things. And like, I get it, everyone needs that relax and unwind time. If you're looking at your phone or watching a show, or maybe going out with your friends on the weekend, whatever it is, like, it's perfectly normal, and you need those types of days. I don't want to promote some type of culture where it's like, I have to be just like grinding away every single day all the time. Honestly, you're more stressed out. You're probably not as nice of a person. Learning to relax is super important. So being practical and allowing yourself time to relax in whatever way that looks like is perfectly normal. And please do that. I've found I've been more productive when I step away from some of my creative projects. Even if it's just a night, I'll get to a point where I'm like, I just gotta step away from it. And then I come back to it the next day and I'm like, oh my gosh, fully refreshed. I know exactly what this project needs. So there's a ton of power in those moments where you're not directly working on a project or whatever it might be. Also, create routines for yourself based around the goals you have. Be reasonable with how much time you can make for things that need to be done, which will allow you to sustain these habits long term. You can also leverage the accountability of things like an Apple Watch or any fitness tracker to keep you consistent, especially with the workouts. So these are the things that I've implemented into my life that have helped me conquer consistency. I'm telling you right now, you're consistent at something. You just have to redirect that energy into the goals that you have. And if you don't have any goals, if you're just trying to relax and maybe you've just got a job and you're just locked into your happy life, then do that. What I'm saying is not necessarily for everyone, but I know some of you are watching this and you're like, maybe I don't love my job and I'm trying to start a business or do something. Well, if you apply these principles, I can guarantee you're gonna see exponential success and productivity. And don't just watch this video and be like, okay, well, yeah, I'm inspired, and maybe even save it and then do nothing with it. Wake up tomorrow or even right now, get a notepad out, or I use the Notes app and I'm constantly making lists of things that I'm gonna do. I'm quite surprised that I made it through this video, but honestly, I'm being fine. I'm just being a little baby. You're watching me push through on making this video when I definitely don't feel like making it, because I just want to sit on the couch and sleep, honestly. I want to eat bread, really. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate your support. Check the description for lots of goodies. I've got Lightroom presets, cinematic mode presets, all the stuff. You know what it is. I'll see you on the next video. Peace. And that's how we're ending it. And also, if I do, those are my dogs barking. To see if I can get like body fat, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. You have to work endlessly and endlessly until like some magic leprechaun pops up and finally says, all right, good job, here's all the results and the rewards. But sometimes that day never comes. Sometimes that weird leprechaun comes. Why am I talking about leprechauns? This is what happens when you don't give your body carbohydrates. But we'll see, what am I saying?